Hey, happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome back to Your Travel Stories. We're doing a local story for me today. We're doing a New Orleans-centric story, and it's Halloween. And I'm actually in the Irish Channel Lower Garden District area, which is literally the world of Anne Rice. So it just adds to it. We interviewed Dacre Stoker, great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker, just a couple weeks ago. Check out that video. That was a lot of fun, talking about Transylvania and Ireland, but a little more local. We met somebody who got into the infamous Lalaurie Mansion. If you don't know the Lalaurie Mansion, you haven't heard anything about ghost stories in New Orleans. It's the cornerstone of every ghost tour in the city. Books about it, American Horror Story Coven. You come to New Orleans interested in paranormal, spooky stuff, you are looking out for the Lalaurie Mansion. And you can't really get in there. Honestly, when Nicolas Cage owned the property, he would not allow anyone, or especially paranormal investigation, in. Yeah, I know, Nicolas Cage would not allow paranormal investigation. He should have. And the current owner has only allowed filming in one time, and he will not allow tours in or anything like that. But my friend Karen, and I didn't know this, she was able to get in there one day and wander around and check the place out. And she is a proper paranormal investigator, been in New Orleans for decades, worked with some very well-known names in this town, and she also owns a haunted bed and breakfast. So check it out. We're gonna go talk to Karen right now and hear her story. So let's go.
Hello, everybody. This is Karen Jeffries, and we're in the Marigny neighborhood, the little side neighborhood right outside the French Quarter, at her haunted bed and breakfast. And what's the name of the place?
This is the Dauphine House Bed and Breakfast.
How many rooms do you have?
I've got two.
2 rooms. Where do you put the ghost?
They cram in there. They're there. Yeah.
This is a bona-fide haunted bed and breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a few folks here. About 6 or 7, but they're all really nice, you know.
Do you like guest in the house or ghost in the house?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
And you're online, so
yes.
If you want to stay in an actual haunted bed and breakfast, what are we, steps outside the French Quarter?
That's right.
Steps to Frenchman Street?
Yes.
Can't have a better location.
Yeah, come on down.
But we're going to talk about something different, aren't we, today? It's going on Halloween. And the #1 attraction in New Orleans on a ghost tour is the Lalaurie Mansion.
Right.
American Horror Story, Coven, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And hardly anyone's been in there. A few people have been allowed in every now and then over the years. And I understand you've been in the house.
Yes, I have
Excellent.
been. Right.
Excellent. So I kind of want to know did anything happen? What did you experience? What was it like inside? I mean, it's the history. The history of this house just is unbelievable.
Yes.
And we won't go into the whole story of Delphine Lalaurie. There's enough videos about that. Come take a ghost tour with either one of us.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But around what time period?
Okay, this was in 2010.
Okay.
When Nicolas Cage, unfortunately, he lost the house. And
pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes and watch the guy who's supposed to pay your taxes. So it was that time period before the current owner had purchased it.
Okay.
And I was invited in by someone affiliated with the house.
And you do paranormal research, don't you?
I do.
Okay, like legitimate paranormal research, okay?
Yeah.
Not the Travel Channel stuff that we see.
Right.
There's a difference. Seriously, there's a real difference.
Yeah. But when my friend called and said, "Hey, you want to come down and check out the Lalaurie house?" I was so excited. Because nobody had been able to get in there, that wanted to. And I had heard that Nicolas Cage had been approached by several ghost groups, but he just decided not to do that out of respect to who was there. And a little side story, you probably heard this, but he was on David Letterman, and Letterman asked, "What's the story behind your haunted house in the French Quarter that you own?" He told some stories, and David Letterman said, "Well, what happens to you when you spend the night?" And Nicolas Cage said, "Oh, we don't spend the night there."
No.
Fortunately, he had a second home outside the quarter. That's where.
I mean, you know what happened there, right?
With him?
Yeah.
No.
The first night Nick was spending in the house
Yeah.
was Halloween 2007.
Oh my.
And he came out on the gallery, and there's, dozens of ghost tour groups
Right.
around. Well, he notices the T-shirts of one of the bigger groups.
Yeah.
We know who they are.
Right, right.
And called them up, and the owner said, well, your house is on the tour. Come down and take the tour. Bring the wife and kids.
Wow.
It's on us.
Yeah.
I know the tour guide who gave the tour.
Oh man.
And standing across the street from the house after hearing what happened,
Right.
Nick and the wife and the kids freaked out on the spot, walked off the tour, packed their bags, and went to another place.
Wow.
Basically, the ghost rider never spent another night in his own haunted house. Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I have.
So you've been in there.
Yeah.
So.
And I kind of wish I hadn't. On one hand, I'm glad I did. So anyway, I'm skipping to the Lalaurie
Yeah.
house because this is just amazing.
We're just skipping to a haunted house in New Orleans.
that no one else could get into.
This is what we do, people. Okay.
We're kind of
yeah.
silly that way. And so I get there, and my friend, she says, "Yeah, just wander around, see what you pick up on." So I went upstairs, which I think might have been the house didn't have any furniture in it. So I think it might have been the master bedroom. I'm not sure. It faces Royal Street.
So it's a little empty and such.
Yes, yes. So I get up there, and I just tried to tune in. What I do is automatic writing. That's for whatever reason, that's what kind of taps pen to paper is what taps me into that psychic frequency, if you will. So I'm a little pen and paper, and I'm like, Madame, if you're here, I'd like to hear your side of the story, because in 2010 we weren't quite sure what was factual and what was not. Some tour guides talk about these horrible experiments, the crabman and some of the craftings, right? But then other people were saying no, it wasn't quite that bad. As we know from our friend Carolyn Long, she did a lot of research about this.
Because you've worked with Carolyn.
Yeah.
And Carolyn is a Smithsonian researcher. It doesn't get any better than that, honestly.
That's right.
As far as a research professional,
yes.
I mean, that's a blessing.
Yes,
that must have been sweet.
Yeah. So Carolyn hadn't done that research when I had gone in, so I didn't really know what was fact or fiction. So the reason for my question to Madame was, can you tell me about all of this? Wanting to know her story. And I swear it was like whoosh, she was right in my face. She said, my story, you can hear my story every night on off my balcony. Get out, get out, get out. It's like, on one hand I'm terrified, on the other hand I just got here. So I pressed it and I asked another question. I said, well, tell me why you're here. And so even though
so you're up on the second floor.
Yes.
All by yourself.
Yes.
No furniture, no nothing. And Delphine spoke to you.
Yeah, she did. And she was not happy with me. And even though on the one hand I was slightly terrified, on the other hand I'm like, when am I going to have this opportunity again?
Yeah.
So I pressed it again. I asked another question, and I said, tell me about your enslaved peoples. Once again, right in my face, she said, precisely, my animals, my pets, get out, get out, get out. And I'm like, I gotta go. I run downstairs to my friend and I said, I gotta go. And she said, no, check out this other part of the house. I feel really weird in this one room. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I feel weird in that room.
Yeah.
And you want me to check out another one.
Yes. So I go to this other room and she said, just see if you pick up on anything. And this is one of the dependency apartments in the back. And so I go back there and I thought I could hear moaning. This could be where she kept her enslaved people. They appeared to be on the floor. I heard like chains rattling a little bit. It just felt to me like this is where she kept some of her people. And so I asked them, I said, why are you here? And they said, because we fell out of favor with Madame, and she would nurse them, she would take them to the brink of death, and then nurse them back to health. Back to death, back to health. It was just a game.
That's a psychological.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I tried
Talk about a power move.
Yes. For all the rest of the
Yeah.
people in the house. So I I tried to cross them over. I'd never done that before. I've seen other friends do it.
Okay.
So I assumed that they came from a voodoo and a Catholic background. So I tried to call on St. Peter and Papa Legba to come and get their people.
And you're well versed in both of these.
Right. So I began to see a few of them actually moving upward. Things heavens kind of opened up, or however you want to imagine that. And there was one more person who just seemed like he was not moving. There was nothing happening with that poor soul. I asked another soul if they would help him to also ascend, and it appeared they did. Now, in the middle of this whole process, I had left the apartment door open, and whoosh, there she was in the doorway. She was angry.
Did you see her or just feel her?
I felt her. Yeah, I could see her in my mind's
presence?
eye.
Okay.
Yeah, it was her. So I stood up to her, and I said, "You're not going to stop me. I'm sorry, I'm doing this." And so I did. I continued to. And when I felt like the room felt lighter, that they had all ascended, then I felt good, and I left. I ran downstairs with my friend again. I said, "I really got to go now." So I left. Before I left, she goes, "Oh, you want to come back tomorrow too?" And I'm like, "Okay." And so I left. And I this is common, as you know, when you are ghost hunting or whatever. You feel drained afterwards.
Yes.
They're getting their energy from
Yes.
us. And I was wiped out. I had to take a nap. It was ridiculous. So the next day I invited a friend to come back with me with her video camera. She didn't catch anything really, but I kind of kept my distance energetically from Madame.
Right.
I did venture one more question. I said, "Tell me about Paris." Because if you know the story of Madame Lalaurie, she escaped to Paris after all the madness and mayhem here. And she didn't like Paris because she wasn't the belle of Paris, she was the belle of New Orleans, and she wanted to come back.
And when she went to Paris, she was an outsider, wasn't
Yes.
We know how that goes.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that was my last question, and once again, I left. And like I said, my friend didn't capture anything on her camera. But then that's basically when all hell happened to me personally after that. Once again, I was exhausted energetically. Then I felt very sick and nauseous. And then a couple days later, I lost 5 big bookings, like Jazz Fest bookings.
Oh, geez.
She was angry with me.
That's when we make our money, is these big events.
Yes. Yes. So she attacked me physically, and now she's attacking me financially. And I talked to my friend that invited me in and told her what I was feeling, and she said that she felt energetically drained too. She also lost some business in a side business she had. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I thought, we need help. I need help.
Yeah.
And so I called on a friend, Mary Milan, also known as Bloody
Bloody
Mary,
Mary.
right? And she's also a voodoo priestess and a healer, psychic medium, etc. So thank God she came to my house and invited my friend also, and she did a cleansing, clearing situation and felt that we were fine, but also guided us to take salt baths, do Florida water now and then, holy water now and then, the whole shebang.
Hey,
as a
hedge all
preventative.
bets, okay?
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, geez.
So things calmed down after that. I do admit, I did not walk past that house. I would go to a different block for years.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm to the point that I can walk past it across the street. I don't walk
You think
next
she's still
to
got
it.
some animosity or
Well,
some
I
anger
don't-
left? Or
I don't want to find out. But it was
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, we don't know what we're walking into
No,
when
we
we go into
don't.
these
We
houses.
don't.
Yeah.
And on
Yeah.
occasion, people do go into the house.
Right.
Some people don't feel or sense anything.
No, right.
And
right.
some people will just have that connectivity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever know Tommy, the groundskeeper?
Yes, and
Yeah.
I think that was Tommy's apartment I went into and did
Okay.
the clearing. Someone mentioned that to me, but that was probably Tommy's. Wouldn't it be interesting to know if Tommy felt? He had to have.
Actually, my wife Jane
Yeah.
did chat with Tommy quite a bit.
Great.
He didn't believe in any ghosts.
Oh, okay.
He said the only thing haunting that building was bad decisions. So,
Okay.
And allegedly, he was the one that used to throw the mannequins off the 3rd floor
Are
in
you
the back
serious?
courtyard. Yes, you know about that?
No.
It even happened to tour guide Ernie.
I know Ernie.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ernie.
Yes.
in that day and age, when they're on the Governor Nichols side, when you're standing there looking at the building and you've got the slave quarters in the courtyard, they would hide in the 3rd floor, way up in the corner there in the shadows with a mannequin. When they had a big group all set up, they would just hurl the mannequin over the thing. And it happened to Ernie one time.
Yeah.
So he's standing there, he's doing his tour, he's got his back to the building as people are in front of him.
Yeah.
And the whole group just scattered, screaming in every direction. And he turns around, he's like,
what?
Couldn't even see anything.
Right.
But that was supposedly Tommy doing that.
Oh, that's hysterical.
He was just a jackass, you know, one of these old men, kind of a drinker. And
right.
You know how we are.
Yeah. That's great.
Jeez. Because it's been many, many things. And there was even a positive time period of the house when it was the Warrington house.
Okay.
It was the late 1800s, early 1900s. And it was a home for homeless men and wayward boys.
Oh, okay.
And they also had the house that was I'm forgetting the house over on Charter Street, the museum. My mind just across from the convents. Here we are, historians, and our minds are going blank. Beauregard Kai's house. Yeah, they had that house as well. So for 4 decades, that these young men and homeless and little boys and orphan boys.
Nice.
So if you ever see an old picture of the Lalaurie Mansion and there's a group of little boys in front, it's because of that.
Okay.
And the postcard. Hand me the postcard.
Yes, indeed.
This is a historic postcard of the Lalaurie Mansion, and you can find these online on eBay, and it actually says the Warrington House on the top.
That's
Warrington House and Haunted House. So what they were doing is they were publishing these postcards as a way of making money to feed the boys and everything else. So that's when the legend really came back in the early 1900s.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are fun. It's an actual linen postcard from the 1900s.
That is amazing.
Our history is there.
Yes.
And I mean, from the newspaper account the very next day, in April 11th, 1834, to all the stories that came through the 1800s, George Washington Cable, the 1900s, reamping the story.
Yes.
At some point, I'm sure Delphina's like, can we just cut this crap, man? Can we just let it slide,
Right.
And like, no, we're not going to let it slide.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I felt like she liked her story being told. She liked standing on the balcony and listening to them talk about her.
The notoriety.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't care what you say about me, just get my name right.
Yes, exactly. So I think she's really okay with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, to do what happened in the first place, you've got to be a little off kilter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you won't go back in? No?
No.
Won't cross the
I'll leave that
street?
to you or someone else to do.
Oh, I'll go in.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I bet you will.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
And I was on a bike tour once.
Yeah.
And it was a group of bachelors. And it was a daytime. They were just doing a bar crawl. So we stopped at the Lafitte's blacksmith shop.
Okay, yes.
And they got a cocktail, and they're chatting with some people there, some young professionals, and we left and end up at the mansion. And the guy that some of them met at the blacksmith shop walked past us and was walking into the house, pulled out his key, and we're like, dude.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I know the owner. I'm staying here for the weekend.
No.
There was about a dozen of us.
Yeah.
And so they were like, do you want to go inside? And he goes, I can't bring all of you in. So the guy that was getting married, we were like, you go, and his friend who organized the whole thing. I'm like, go guys, go, get some video.
Right.
And I'm stuck on the damn sidewalk, just sitting there going,
you were this close.
That close.
Yeah.
So people do get in.
Yeah.
Most of them are just here for the weekend to party, They're like, we're extremely wealthy and staying in a $4 million mansion, and let's go get drunk. Ghost be damned.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I know there was a paranormal investigation, one of those shows on TV.
Jack Osborne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Osborne.
He got in.
So.
Because the current owner allowed him.
Yeah. The current owner's in the Hollywood industry.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. From what I understand, it's a guy named Michael Whelan.
Okay.
And allegedly, the two brothers who wrote the first 2 Conjuring movies have spent time in the house and wrote a screenplay. So that's kind of where we're at.
That's the connection. Okay.
So we're fingers crossed. All my sources say that it's real. I checked the Hollywood rags and such. And we're just waiting. It could be a year. It could be a decade.
Right. Right.
But, you know, we have American Horror Story, and we
Yeah.
have all the books that have been written.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn Morrow Long, the
Right.
Smithsonian researcher, and you've worked with her.
Yes, she's.
And I know you did with her with Bloody Mary.
Yes,
and Juliet, right?
Yes, with Juliet. Yeah. That was on the anniversary of the fire.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the reason why Carolyn wanted to do it that day. And we didn't go in. We just kind of stood outside on the sidewalk and see if we could tune in. And
And Juliet was another paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
We miss her dearly.
Well, we do.
She was,
precious.
yeah.
Mhm.
And not only did she do paranormal investigation, but she was a JFK conspiracy buff.
Was she really?
Oh yeah,
I
she
didn't
used to do
realize
the
that.
tours for me. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
How about
we're
that?
also both conspiracy buffs. Okay,
Mhm.
it's a weird little world. Just don't go down that rabbit hole.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up having cocktails with Roger Stone, and I'm not proud about that.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
There's
You want to
so
talk
many
about
stories.
scary stuff?
Oh, yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I'll take the ghost of Delphine Lalaurie any day of the
There you
week
go.
over that man. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then I read the book that you've been mentioned in, Jack Roth's book.
Oh yeah, The Killing Kennedy.
Yeah, that was fascinating
Yeah.
too.
Now, do you know the book Madame Lalaurie?
No.
No?
Madame Lalaurie.
Lalaurie, yeah, you've got to
Wow.
find it. It's
Okay.
another historical account.
Okay.
And it's two women, Victoria and Lorelei, and they're fantastic. They're friends of mine.
Okay.
And they're historians and authors.
Okay.
And they wrote a book about it. It came out, I think, just before Carolyn's book came out.
Uh-huh.
And Carolyn's book is a lot more in-depth in research, but it's on the money there.
Well, how about that?
And find them on Facebook.
Okay.
And there was another book written that was La Amor to Light. And it's a little novelette
Mm-hmm.
about the Lalaurie Mansion. And it was a man named Tim Heinen
Okay.
who put Delphine Lalaurie and Marie Laveau together in fictional form
Oh, okay.
several years before American Horror Story came out and
Oh,
put the two women together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was also into the conspiracy JFK thing.
Okay. Very good.
It's New Orleans. It's a
Yeah,
weird
it's
world.
all
It's like,
connected.
jeez. We have the ghost of everything.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
But that was fantastic, Karen. I
Aw.
appreciate you sharing, and I know you have a whole bunch of notes and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Any little tidbits that we didn't touch on, or we missed,
Oh.
or anything that jumped out at you?
Gosh, it's
Yeah.
just that pervasive attitude of hers, which
Okay.
is dangerous. You know,
Mm.
I just
They know what they did, and they don't care.
know, and they'll just continue to do it.
Oh.
And so, if this is how she is on, on the other side, can you imagine in real life being in her presence?
Special place in hell for those kinds of people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And I think that she's somehow still stuck on this plane with us.
Yeah.
Because I've been in front of that house, I don't know how many thousands of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing this 13, 14 years
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Sometimes doing that story twice a night for
Yes.
month in and month out.
Yeah. Well, I think
Oh.
perhaps she's not going to cross over. This is her place. This is her world. This is it for her. Standing on that balcony and listening to you and the others tell
Gosh.
her story. She loves it.
I might start doing more of the Warrington House information.
That would
the
be
good,
nice,
the
yeah.
positive history of the
Yes.
house, because it did have a positive
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
And in everything, we both know.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
positive and a negative. There's
That's
a dark
right.
and a light.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
sometimes people like us walk that line.
Yeah.
But that's why we have a
knowing-
bar in every corner in New Orleans,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we can, you know what, I need a cocktail. I've seen enough spirits here, I'm
Right.
going to do these.
Right. So true.
Well, this has been fabulous.
This
I
is
thank
so
you
much
for taking
fun.
the time.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Cute little courtyard
Thank you.
here in the Marigny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Cool.
Happy Halloween, Karen.
Thanks. You too, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the button, whatever all that stuff you're supposed to do. I don't give a crap. Just come back and watch my channels. Karen Jeffries, Dauphine House, 2-room haunted bed and breakfast
Yes.
in the Marigny, steps
Yes.
to Frenchman Street, the
Yeah.
French Quarter. And a little disclaimer, 2 years ago on Newsy, which is now Scripps News, and I'll put a link in down below. We were both on national news
Yeah,
together.
that was really fun.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
super.
Yeah.
Thank you and happy Halloween.
Thank you. She said, my story, you can hear my story every night on my balcony, off my balcony. Get out, get out, get out. You know, it's like, on one hand, I'm terrified. On the other hand,